Do you recognize this scene from Conan the Barbarian? According to director John Milius, it was a direct homage to Kwaidan. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Happy Halloween! I have something very special for you today. Kwaidan is a 1964 anthology epic adapting 4 ghostly Japanese folktales from the writings of Lafcadio Hearn, known as Yakumo Koizumi in Japan. The film combines classical art with new cinematic technologies, is deeply traditional and yet strikingly avant-garde. This intense stylization makes it difficult to watch casually but very rewarding to decode, and that's why I'm here. We'll only summarize one of the 4 stories, so you can enjoy the rest of the film spoiler-free. However, we'll reference the visual from the entire film, so you know what to look for. This Halloween, let's experience something different. Let's step into the world of Kwaidan, Japan's most beautiful horror film. For this video, we'll focus on the second story, The Woman of the Snow. It's not the most elaborate story, but it perfectly sets the tone for the rest of the film. High in the mountains, an elderly woodcutter and his young apprentice are caught in a blizzard. The trees thrash like yokai dancing in the storm. Buried by fallen snow, the young man loses consciousness. When he awakens, lost in a realm without life, he sees the gaze of the storm itself. Countless eyes in the sky surrounding him, spying on him, until one eye reaches out, showing him the way to a nearby hut where he and his master may take refuge. In his delirium, the young man sees a pale woman. Her breath freezes the elderly woodcutter, sapping him of his life. Turning to the young man, she lingers. "I will not harm you," she says, "for you are too young. But speak of this night, and I will know, and I will kill you." And with that, she disappears. Like a haunting nightmare, the young man soon awakens. He returns to his everyday life, going up the mountains at sunrise, return to the village at sunset. One day, on his way back, he meets a beautiful young woman. Under the witness of the setting sun, they fall in love and marry each other. Years pass, they became parents to 3 children. They are admired by the village folks, for he is reliable and she is caring. The new year will soon arrive, and he has made her a pair of straw sandals, decorated with red strings, chosen to match her beauty. It's a humble gift, yet a priceless one. By the glow of the oil lamp, his wife sews new clothes for their children. Her pale skin catches his eyes, awakening a memory long buried. "Why are you staring at me?" she asks. And so he recounts that dream, the storm, the hut, and the pale woman who spared him. "It was not a dream," she says. A sudden storm howls into the village. Enraged by the broken promise, his wife, now the woman of the snow, readies to kill him. But she falters. "If it weren't for the children, I would have killed you." Sternly, she speaks. "Take good care of our children, or I will know." Then she fades into the blizzard. Distraught by his mistake, the man staggers after her, but she's gone. He takes her new sandals and places them outside for her. As he cries, the storm takes them. And the story ends bitter sweetly. The story you just heard was adapted from the 1903 book by Lafcadio Hearn. Hearn was the OG weeaboo deeply in love with Japanese culture. That's why he wrote down so many Japanese folk tales. That means you, my fellow otaku, should have no fear about your VTuber fanfiction. Someone may make a movie about it someday, you never know. If you want your story to be shared far and wide, you need a website from Squarespace. After all, a website is accessible anywhere in the world, is not geo-restricted, and has no login requirement. Squarespace even formats your website for mobile devices, making your website well-suited for readers on commutes. All you need to do is write your story and edit as if it's a text editor. The process is super intuitive. And since you own the website, you can easily edit already published stories, replace your first draft with the second draft, and organize each story however you wish. Heck, attach illustrations to your story. The sky is the limit. Start a free trial at squarespace.com/accentinema. Use the code accentinema and you can get 10% off your first purchase. Get something to show off? Show it with Squarespace. Visit squarespace.com/accentinema and please update me on your VTuber fanfiction. Now, let's dive into the film's visuals. Believe it or not, Kwaidan was one of Japan's early ventures into color cinema. The first full-color Japanese film was released in 1951. Over the next decade, films like Gate of Hell, Jigoku, and Mothra all experimented with color cinema to stunning results. Yet, even beside them, Kwaidan stands apart. Hard to believe this was director Masaki Kobayashi's first color feature. Consider Gate of Hell, a lavish period piece from 1953. Its costumes radiate vibrant colors and intricate details. In this shot, a red floral kimono contrasts against a blue and black armor, accentuated by the earth-toned background. The lighting is flat, but the scene still carries contrast and texture. But that is where its utilization of color ends, at the showcase of costumes and props. In comparison, here's Kwaidan. In an instant, the palette can shift from natural tones to a frozen shade of blue. The film doesn't just display color, it paints with it. Every scene follows a unified palette from the costumes to the lighting itself, all serving a cohesive vision. Then there's the shape of the color, reminiscent of Japanese woodblock prints. Peaked in the 19th century, these iconic images were printed by stamps. As such, the colors appear in defined shapes with edges. Gradients are used sparingly and appears with uniform directions. Kwaidan mirrors this by favoring solid color costumes over elaborate patterns. Paired with the frontal lighting, the film flattens the image, giving the impression of a painting. The sets also echo the ukiyo-e aesthetic, with the painted sky bearing the most resemblance. The large red sun, the harsh gradient, and the cloud that slices through the image are all common motifs. Snowy river, naval battle, and distant pagoda are also iconic subjects. Filmed inside a vast aircraft hangar, the bespoke sets allowed the best compositions with foreground, midground, and background. The sense of depth against the stylized backdrops blurs the line between theatrical and cinematic. Seeing how the film intercuts between paintings and live action, the filmmakers must have been proud to be compared. Judging by the result, I'll say the confidence is well earned. But the visuals of Kwaidan aren't just beautiful, they are part of the storytelling. In this film, every story has its own color palette, and within each, recurring color motifs. In The Woman of the Snow, when the man is at ease, the world rests in a natural, earthy color. When he falls in love, the scene burns in passionate red and orange. When haunted, everything is veiled in blue, and this blue is a lingering motif. Here, the young man lies sick from his encounter with the woman. The entire scene is muted in color, except for his blue blanket. Even healed, he continues to wear blue, still wrapped in her influence. It's not until the end that he wears something less blue. He has gotten over the trauma. He feels safe around his wife, safe enough to share the story with her, not realizing she's wearing blue. The background also tells a story. One of the most interesting visual elements is the eye in the sky. It's not hard to realize these eyes belong to the snow spirits. The woman was spying on him, guiding him to safety. Later, when the man meets his wife-to-be, we see lips in the sky. It's an indication that this is all the woman's doing. She is seducing him. At the climax, when the woman reveals her identity, a giant, furious eye consumes the sky. She, once again, is watching him. The meaning becomes sweeter when he brings her his newly made sandals, and she accepts his gift. Her side of the story is hidden entirely in the background. There are so many more brilliant details, but let's end this video with my favorite, how the camera signals the supernatural. You see, whenever the uncanny intrudes, the film suddenly goes from a traditional painting look to modern cinematography. Rembrandt lighting brings out people's dimensionality, outlined by backlight and moody backgrounds. Faces sculpted by shadow, shapes defined by depth. The difference is subtle but striking when put side by side. It's not because it's a night scene either. This is a day scene and it looks just as moody, or because the scene is haunted. The camera starts moving like a POV shot, but with no POV character. Dutch angle destabilizes the image, so realistic audio blurs the line between music and sound effects. When all comes crashing down, the film freezes. Amazing. Okay, so I have a conspiracy. At the start of the story, when the young man collapses in the snow, he wakes up in a completely different landscape, one that isn't in the book. Here, trees lay bare without leaves. To me, it looks like a charred wasteland after an air raid. I'm not pulling that out of my ass, I swear. In the background, you can hear air raid sirens. Okay, they are probably actual sirens, but the connection feels more than coincidental. The Snow Woman kills the old, marries the young. It all mirrors how the Allied ended the old militaristic Japan and how the new Japan became a US ally. Director Masaki Kobayashi was a staunch pacifist and anti-war artist even before the war. Drafted against his will, he witnessed atrocities firsthand, and afterward dedicated his career to anti-war films. That's how he made films like Harakiri and the Human Condition trilogy, all films that criticized corrupt systems that sacrifice people for power. So it's not a stretch to imagine a hidden war allegory in Kwaidan. As the woman departs, she leaves with one warning: take care of what's been built. Is that a concrete interpretation? Probably not. But if that idea intrigues you, maybe give Kwaidan a watch this Halloween. Pay attention to his imagery and let me know what story it tells you.